All right, this is lesson 1-4. First we have our review, just to make sure you know what you're doing, but we're going to skip that because we didn't talk about that a whole lot except for number 4. We're going to evaluate. So first you're going to do the parentheses, 4 squared, and do the exponent inside because that's first inside the parentheses. So this will be 4 times 1/4 plus 16 minus 16. Do that next, easy peasy. So this is 4 times 1/4 is what you have left, which just equals 1. Okay, so today's lesson is on distributive property. Distributive property is used to simplify. You've used it before probably, so this will be a good review, but then we're starting to get into more of what we're doing in algebra where you're combining like terms. So the distributive property looks like this. If I have a number A, I'm going to multiply it times B, and I can also multiply that times C to end up with AB plus AC. So it works that way, and it also works in reverse. You can take the number inside the parentheses and multiply it times the one that's outside, and then this other one that's here, multiply it times outside, so you get the same thing. It works that way for plus, it works that way for minus. Notice when it's minus, that we end up with minus over here also. So you just kind of keep track of your signs and then you multiply everything together. So there's some examples. So here's our first example with Julio. Julio walks 5 days a week. He walks at a fast rate for 7 minutes and cools down for 2 minutes. So we're going to use a distributive property to write and evaluate an expression for this. So first we want the total minutes, right? So you have 7 minutes and 2 minutes that you want to add together. But then how many times does that happen? It happens 5 days a week. So this will be how you would set this up with the distributive property. With distributive property, then we would do 5 times 7 is 35, and 5 times 2 is 10. So what I did in between is it looks like this: 5 times 7 plus 5 times 2, and that equals 45 when we're all done. Here's another example. Suzanne walks to school and home from school 5 days each week. She walks to school 15 minutes and then walks home in 10 minutes. So we're going to rewrite that using the distributive property because this is the relationship that goes with that. So 5 times the sum of 15 plus 10. So 5 times 15 is 75. 5 times 10 is 50. So you end up with 125. Okay, so that's the total number of minutes. Now I know I scroll past this faster than you can write on some of these, but just go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Alright, so we're going to use the distributive property to rewrite. So this is a skill that helps us learn how these things break down. So I can take 6 times 54, and it's a pretty big number, but if I take the 6 and put it outside the parentheses and break this down into 50 plus 4, now I have 2 multiplication steps I can do just in my head. So 6 times 50 is going to be 300. 6 times 4 is going to be 24. So in my head, I figured out that this is 324. Alright, so that's one example for that one. We're going to do this one a little bit backwards. So 82, well, we could do it this way. We'll do 12 times 80 plus 2. So that's a little bit bigger of a problem. You can kind of decide which way you want to go. There's either that way, or we can break this down this way. 10 plus 2 times 82. So you can decide which way really makes sense, because the first one you have 12 times 80, which you could do 960 and that would be okay. Or you could do this other one. We'll just do this one since it's a backwards one. 82 times 10 is 820, so I went backwards. And then 82 times 2. And then you add those two together and you get 984. Again, pause if you need to. Okay, so then we're going to talk about like terms. This is 3 terms, and they have the same variables, the same power. So if you look at this one, it has an x squared with it. So this one is a different term from this one. And notice when I consider my terms, I'm considering the number and the sign in front. These two are like terms because they both have the a squared with it. So an expression is in its simplest form when it contains no like terms or parentheses. So that's the game here. So we're going to rewrite this one. First, we're going to start with just distributive property. 12 times y is 12y. 12 times 3 is 36. So the steps I did to get there again were 12 times y plus 12. Ooh, it's not going to say times 3. Equals that. Okay, so let's rewrite this one. 4 times y squared, 4 times 8y, 4 times 2. So this is 4y squared. Now when you get to 4 times 8y, I'm going to write this one out, plus 4 times 2. This becomes 4y squared. This one, you're just going to multiply the front numbers, plus 32y, and then plus 8. All right? So you go ahead and pause the video right here and try to simplify these. See how you do with this. And then when you're done, then you can check it. All right, are you back? So 6x minus 24, right? Now notice that this had a minus sign in front of it, so I do 6 times 4, but then bring down that minus sign with it. So this will be 3 times x cubed, 3 times 2 x squared, now this has a minus in front of it, so bring the minus down and then do 3 times 5. So this is 15x. And same thing with this big arrow. 3 times 7, it has a plus sign in front of it, so that's 21. So I just write the sign down that's in front of the number, in front of the number inside the parentheses, or the front of the term in the parentheses, and then I do the multiplication of the number. Combining like terms, you're just going to take these and do what it says, combine. So simplifying this first one is the same thing as doing 17 plus 21 times a. Now that looks like our distributive property in the back way, the reverse way. So really it is, that's what we're doing. That's why we're allowed to do it, because of the distributive property. So 17 plus 21 is 38a. Okay, simplifying this one, 14 minus 9x, so that's going to be 5x. Now we don't normally write it out like that to show the work. Once you get good at this, then you just go and you take the coefficients in front, including this negative. Since those are the like terms, this one is not a like term. But this one is, because both of these have this, the b squared with them. Okay, so you take the number in front, 12, and subtract minus 8. So this is 12 minus 8 b squared. So 12 minus 8 is 4, and that's b squared. Okay, so on this one, on D, the 6n squared is a different term from 7n. an 8n. So it's the 7n and the 8n that get combined. 6n squared just gets rewritten, plus 15n. So it goes like that. Okay, so this one, we're going to use the expression of 6 times the sum of x and y increased by 4 times the difference of 5x. So you have to write algebraic expressions. So we're back to that again, but do you see how we have the sum of, remember when we did the work with this and we worked with sum of and difference of? This is why we did this, because there's a minus in front of that. And then there's, plus. And then there's a minus in front of that one. So you can translate this just by going 6 times the sum of is a parentheses, x and y. Increased by is addition. Then 4 times the difference of sum of 5x minus y. So when you see a number 6 times the sum of, then make sure and put a parentheses right there. So this one is, let's see if it's on the other side. Yes, it is. Okay, so here's the expression. Now we're going to simplify. 2 sets of parentheses groups. You just take the number in front and you multiply it times the one in parentheses. So one step at a time again. This is 6x plus y. Oops, sorry. 6x, I'm just going to okay, back to this. So this is 6x plus 6y, and then multiply this one. 4 times 5 is 20x minus 4y, and now you're going to combine like terms. So the 6x goes with the 20x. 6 plus 20x is 26x. And then the 6y is going to go with this minus 4y. So you have to remember that's a minus. Don't lose your minuses, your negative numbers. So this is 6 minus 4 is a positive 2y. So you can think of this as doing 6 minus 4 with the y on the outside. Alright, so we're going to write a algebraic expression for the verbal expression. I want you to try this one again, and then I want you to pause the video and check it and see how you do. Okay, here it goes. 3 times 2x minus y plus 2 times 4x plus y is what you should have gotten. Okay, difference of, that's where your parentheses starts. Increased by 2 times the sum of these two things. Okay, that's what you do. And then to simplify, you should have gotten 6x minus 3y plus 8x plus 2y when you did distributive property, and then you combine your like terms. 6x's plus 8x's makes 14x's. Negative 3y plus 2y makes a negative 1y. So again, we're adding the number in front and just leaving the letters alone when we combine like terms. Okay, so here's some more of your properties. And this is where you see the distributive is now on our list. Alright, thanks for watching.